It seems like not that long ago that we were talking about how the coronavirus was affecting hotels and what people were doing about it. And things have really changed since then. And so the big thing that's going through most hoteliers' mind right now is, what should I do? I mean, this is completely different than things that we've gone through before. And so what I've done is I'm putting together a 2 video series. In this one, which is very originally called Part 1, we're going to be talking about some of the kind of more marketing oriented things that you can do. And in the second part, we're going to be talking about more of the operations and finance, and then also contingency planning and so forth. And so let's just kind of get started here. I mean, if you go back to what we were talking about in the previous video, kind of some research that came from some things I did about 10 years ago during the financial crisis or the recession. And, I mean, a lot of these still hold. Don't panic. Yes, that's true. Watch your pricing, because particularly right now, if you discount your prices, you're not going to get more people, and you know that. So be careful with that. Looking at your marketing and then maintaining your service level. And we'll talk about all of these. And so, but again, look at what's going on. This is from April 10th, and this is cases per 1 million people. And, it's truly global. And so it's affecting all of us in different ways, depending on what part of the world we're in. So let's just kind of take a look at this. I mean, what is it that you should actually do? And don't worry if you're worried, if you're confused by this, because I think everybody is. And so partly this has to do with what stage you're in. And so if you're lucky enough to be in a country where it's not impacting you, that's good, but you need to be thinking about what happens if it does. Minor restrictions, this could be things like maybe some nationalities can't come into the country, that sort of thing. Major restrictions, borders are closed, restrictions on domestic travel, or a shutdown, and this is true in many parts of the world, and then also entering into recovery, which is what's happening now in China. And so rule number one, going back to this, is don't panic. Or as my friend Dave Roberts who used to be with Marriott says, if you need to panic, go in the corner, get it over with, and then come back and think clearly. Because if you're in a panic stage, you're not going to be thinking at your best. And so make sure that you're thinking very clearly as you go through this. And then the all-purpose strategies, I mean, there's external, which is more kind of a marketing side, and internal, which is more market kind of operations and finance. We're going to be talking about the external ones. And one other thing, and I'll reiterate this in the second video, make sure you're keeping a log of the sorts of things that you're trying out during this, because this will prove invaluable to you later on. And so let's just look at the external strategy. So one of them is maintaining connections. So this is with your guests and with your meeting planners and your groups and so forth. Community service. And then also kind of looking at your customer pain points, because like us, they're really confused by this and they're really worried. And what can we do to help with that? And so maintaining connections, and again, this is you're maintaining connections with your guests, with your meeting planners, with your groups. And why does this matter? Well, one of my colleagues from Cornell, Checky Dev, did some research with Amrit Singh back a few years ago, and they were looking at winners and losers during the Great Recession. So this was basically looking at during the financial crisis around 2009 and 2010. And they broke hotels into winners. So this was a RevPAR index of greater than 110. And so they were using Smith Travel data for this. And then losers were RevPAR index that were less than 90. And they looked at a bunch of different things from the budgets. So the major operating expenses and the marketing expenditures, and basically, what was on the financial statements. And what they found was, particularly with marketing, this is really quite interesting. This was the only thing that was different. Everybody cut their marketing expenses, and that's not surprising because you got to cut somewhere. But look at the difference here. The losers cut by 17.5%, the winners only by 10.6%. And this is the part, though, that I find fascinating. The other marketing activities, and these are things like fam trips and local promotions and training and trade shows. The winners actually increase spending while losers drop them. So you want to be sure that you're maintaining the connections because you'll need them for when you start to go into recovery. You're kind of moving along with this community service. I mean, we're in the hospitality industry. This is what we do is we help others out. And we have the resources right now. We have the rooms, we have the people. And so let's put them to good use because there's a lot of need out there right now. And so when you look at this, I mean, take a look at what Hilton is doing with American Express. They're offering 1 million rooms to healthcare workers, or you could see hotels that are donating food. You could see the American Hotel and Lodging Association's Hospitality for Hope, again, trying to help out healthcare workers. You could see in Singapore, like in many places, hotels are offering quarantine hotels. And this is good not only for the people who have to go into quarantine and their families, but it's also good for public health, and it's also good for the hotels because nobody's there anyway. A great public service kind of thing to be doing. And then think about customer pain points. I mean, people are really worried right now. I mean, they're worried about their families, worried about their health. There's a lot of uncertainty. Oh, I made a reservation at that hotel, and but is it going to be okay? Should I cancel it? Oh, I've got a deposit down. I mean, am I going to get stuck with that? Should I book? And all these different sorts of things. Or I'm at home with the kids all day. We need to get out and do something or other. Again, depending on where your hotel is located, this might be an option. So think about this. This is a great example from Marriott, and they're providing special rates for caregivers. Okay, and think about this. Healthcare professionals, sometimes they might feel uncomfortable going home because they might be afraid of infecting their family. Why not offer them a good deal? I mean, you've got the rooms and they've got the need, and this is something that we might not have done normally, but these are not normal sorts of times. Or look at this in Bangkok. This is with Movenpick, where they're offering a 14-day experience for people who want to isolate themselves for 14 days. And it's good for, again, the person, it's good for the public health, and it's also good for the hotel. And also look at things like prepaid vouchers because, as I mentioned, I mean, they want to travel, but they don't know when things are going to be okay. Well, why not offer some prepaid vouchers or gift certificates where you could use them sometime in the next year or something like that? And you could offer a bit of a discount that would entice people to try it. And you're also taking the pressure off of them on when they have to use it. And again, you could put a time limit on it at the end of next year or something. And it also brings in some revenue for you, which we all need right now. Or also take a look at your cancellation penalties. I mean, I was doing a seminar a few weeks ago and someone said, well, I don't want to offer refunds because it would have an impact on my cash flow. And my response was, well, yeah, it would, but that's a short-term concern. I mean, if you don't offer refunds, I mean, think about the customers. I mean, they're so worried and you're not going to give me my money back because of all of this. It's not my fault. And it's going to go, I mean, offering the refunds, and I know that it's painful because you need the money and that's what your policy was, but these are not normal times. For your long-term brand image, this is a much better thing. Those people will remember. If you're worried about doing this, offer it as a credit for future stay. We understand, happy to refund, but you can come back sometime in the next year, with the same thing. Why not? And so again, these are the external strategies. And so looking at more the marketing side of it. And then, kind of to reiterate this is maintaining connections, community service, and then considering your customer pain points. And so what I want to know from you is what's worked for you. I mean, what are the things that you've been trying? What's advice that you can give? And I put together a survey on this that I would love to get your response to, and I'm happy to share this information with you. But the first thing I want you to make sure you remember is don't panic. I mean, keep yourself under control so you can think clearly through all of this. And in the second part of the video, we'll be talking about the operations and finance and contingency plans part of this. So thank you very much for your time, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your survey responses. Thank you.